I
That's
kissed my girl by the gas yard wall. Yeah, I'm good to go, man.
that's a good impression of my mum there, Joe. So hey, so Joe,
one of my favorite performers ever, Shane MacGowan, man.
he's still alive. Can you believe
The
Shane
Pogue,
MacGowan outlived Prince?
the Pogues. I actually, yeah, no, I do a couple of songs that are, yeah, some standard, like old school, dirty old town whiskey in a jar and stuff like that. I do that on the with my acoustic show.
Yeah, I think the only problem with the Pogues is Shane MacGowan is so drunk that he's now brain damaged and can't sing anymore.
Did you ever see that interview that he had done with, man? I don't even know. I think it might have been like a. I think he was over here. They were touring over here, and he did an interview that was completely and totally unintelligible. I did not understand a single. I mean, hard enough trying to suss out the Irish accent. I mean, thick Irish accent, but he was so shit faced. I couldn't understand a single word he said. But it was the most compelling interview I've ever seen anyone do. You couldn't take your eyes off of it.
But you know, the most interesting thing about Shane MacGowan though is that he's English.
No shit.
Yeah, it's just that his parents were Irish, and then and he's quite racist, so he refuses to acknowledge his English heritage.
Wow, I had no idea. I always thought Shane MacGowan was Irish. He's got, I mean, it sounded like a thick Irish accent, but he was, like I said, he was pissed drunk. So I don't know, man. Drawing from accents that he didn't even know that he had.
Oh yeah. So Joe, let's talk U2.
All right.
What's your take on the new U2 album, Songs of Experience?
I haven't heard it. I mean, I've heard some of it, but I haven't heard a lot of it. It's funny because the whole U2 thing that I got involved with happened many years ago, and it started out, doing a tribute band that the lead singer and myself back almost 20 years ago, lead singer was a spot on Bono lookalike guy. He didn't even really sound like Bono, but he liked U2, and I was not a tremendous fan of the band ever. I learned to love them after a while. I mean, I grew to like the music, but as far as staying up on what they do now, honestly, I don't. I've heard a couple of cuts. Um, I'm more of an old school U2 fan. I mean, if you ask me what my favorite record is, I know a lot of people go, "Oh, you're a poser," you suck. But it's Joshua Tree. I really think that was like that was the ultimate. That was the best work they ever did. And then all that you can't leave behind when they did their big, when it was their big comeback, like when stuck in a moment, but anything after that, like Joey Ramone and Invisible and Invincible rather, there are very few songs of later U2, that I really like. City of Blinding Lights, great song. Fun to play as a guitar player. It's more fun to play than a lot of the other stuff. I don't get me wrong either. I think they're brilliant. I think that the Edge is an absolute scientist. A lot of people look at his guitar playing and say, that he's shit, but he's absolutely amazing. He created his own thing, not really being a great guitar player, but he is a great. He's a great musician. He's a great composer. He's a scientist, and that counts for a whole lot more than being a shredder.
Was it ever tough for you in to you when you had to play songs by U2 that you thought were shite, but you knew that the public wanted to hear?
No, it's never been no, because I just did a Neil Diamond tribute not too long ago. I mean, and not that I think Neil Diamond's shit, but it's a business where if you ever get a chance to watch something on Netflix called Hired Gun, watch it. It's all about musicians that want to make music their living. Um, a lot of musicians have a problem with playing other people's music, and that is really not the way to go. If you want to make a living, you want to do something that you want to do something as your main source of income. You want to make guitar your main source of income, or vocal, whatever it is that you do, drummer. You've got to play other people's music. You're not going to do it writing and recording and selling your own. Not these days, and not to start. So you get the top of the best of the best, which are uh, I don't know, any musicians that'll step in and play with Kiss or Alice Cooper or Ted Nugent. Well, a lot of these guys I know, or I've gotten to know after years. Um, those are really the guys that are making the money and doing so. It's an integral part of being a professional musician to be able to play stuff that you don't particularly care for. And like I said, not that I don't like U2 music. I pretty much like all of it. But there have been some times where, like, the old lead singer said, "Hey, let's do Joey Ramone." I'm like, yeah, really? All right. You just have to do it. I mean, you have to do it to keep making a living.
Well, I gotta be honest, I actually quite like that Joey Ramone song.
You like it?
It wouldn't be on my top 10, but it's not a skippable one. Like the way you said you like the All You Can't Leave Behind.
Yeah,
But
I like that record.
I fucking hated that album.
You hated that?
Oh fuck me! I was so angry.
Yeah, yeah. Man. It's such a personal thing. I mean, it's your own personal taste in music. I can't say that I hate any of U2's music. But obviously we're all going to have our favorites, and I just happen to be, I mean, it's also my generation that, I grew up with, Joshua Tree and, um, uh, the older records, even, going back to Boy. I mean, I grew up with those records. So as you get older and as your musical taste changes a little bit, um, you don't look at a band the same way. I mean, I don't look at Blue Oyster Cult the same way. I was a tremendous fan of Blue Oyster Cult. I got to know the guys. I've jammed on stage with them, and they were the end all when I was a kid. But now that I'm a 59-year-old man, it's different. It's just different. It's nostalgic, but it's not it doesn't hold the impact that it used to.
But you're a handsome 57-year-old man, and that's what counts.
That would be 59, my friend.
But you only look 57.
I look 57. You rule, man. That's great. That's awesome. How old are you?
33. But I
can believe that.
I fucking feel like I'm 80. Everything hurts.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Wait until you're up in your late 50s, man.
I'll be long dead before I get to the late 50s. Don't worry.
You think so? Are you one of those? You're one of those guys that go hard all the time?
Yeah, and I talk shit to people that own guns.
Ah, yeah, that could be hazardous, man.
So what do you think about the fact that when U2 goes on tour, and well, not even just U2, but any band really, that when they go on tour and don't change up the set list ever, like, do you not think that kind of kills the atmosphere for the fans?
Yeah, there are bands that get locked into a certain thing, and I think that's why U2 did the last tour that they did. They decided not to do a single song off of Joshua Tree. They decided to play more of the most recent record, and from everything that I've read and heard, it looks like Bono said at one point in time that if they ever have two albums that fail in a row, that they were going to call it quits. Now, my feeling I have just a gut feeling that songs of innocence, songs of experience, and then they're going to have songs of ascension. That's the third of the trilogy of the latest bunch of albums to come out. I really do think that they are going to put they're going to put a big hold on doing more studio recordings. I don't think I don't think they're going to move forward as fast with newer material. I think Songs of Ascension is just it's almost like a prediction or a word I'm looking for. It's almost like Songs of Ascension. That's it. You've done he's done the Innocence thing, which was the beginning, the start of it. The Experience thing, which is where they went and what they did when they were absolutely in their prime, and then Songs of Ascension, which is essentially, being done. I really do think that. They just don't have they've never received the radio play that they used to get. They aren't as I don't want to say popular because they're hugely popular. They have a tremendous fan base, but they aren't as relevant as they used to be. That's where I think I'm going with it. They're just not as relevant as they used to be, and I think the band members know that. I think they all have other things going on. I mean, the Edge is a real estate developer out in the coast of California, and Bono, God knows, he's got a million things going in a million directions. So the music thing is going to take a back seat to all their lives fairly soon, I would think.
Speaking of back seats, and I don't know how this is actually relevant, but you've spoke about how you're a big Sons of Anarchy fan.
I watched the series. I binge watched it, and it was entertaining. I found it to be really entertaining. It was fun to do.
Well,
Fun to
see, see here in Belfast, Sons of Anarchy, it's a big no-no because see that whole season set in Belfast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They might as well have set that on fucking Mars for all the research they did.
Oh really?
Yeah, like there was a British flag in the IRA hangout area.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like, you fucking dickheads.
Yeah. You know what the worst part about that was? And I don't know what your political beliefs are. I really don't care. But I mean, every last actor in that show, when you watch the series, when I first watched the series, it was prior to all the political upheaval that's going on, in the States these days. And it was almost like, hanging out with people that I might have hung out with at one point or another in my, my lifetime. Like, let's say I rode with a motorcycle club. Then I might have, it might have been that some of these guys that were the characters that were on Sons of Anarchy were the people that I genuinely, or my father actually genuinely hung out with. My father was very much into guns. I still am. My father was a motorcycle rider. I still am. So Sons of Anarchy was the kind of thing where, you look at it and you go, wow, that reminds me of when I was a kid, a little bit, allegedly. But what it gets down to is the people that acted. Ron Perlman, first of all, every time I see one of his tweets, I want to put a knitting needle through my eye. I mean, the guy is just the most bleeding heart, far left, liberal, wannabe. He wants to be Hillary Clinton's pantyhose. I don't know what I can't wrap my mind around all of the guys. Theo Rossi, every actor on that show was so left, and I am so right. That it became like, I really do think I hate the show now. I really liked it when it first came out, and binge watched it, like I said, enjoyed it because it was violent. You know, it was either drinking, fighting, or fucking, and that was all good. But after you really get to, you know, you get to know the people that acted in it, and you watch it a little more closely, it doesn't age very well.
But I'd love to get a quick dig into the Ron Perlman myself. I seen him put up a tweet talking about. He goes with his big peanut face, and he's all like,
Peanut face.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, I knew what Harvey Weinstein was doing back in the '90s, and once he tried to shake my hand, so I went for a piss and shook his hand."
I saw that.
It's like, so you knew he was raping and abusing women, yet you said nothing, tough guy.
Didn't say a thing. Yeah. You know,
what a feminist.
Cut from the same cloth, man.
But I've got to ask you this final question, Joe, because I follow you on Twitter.
Sure.
And I noticed that you liked the YouTube video recently about a documentary that was made about you.
The documentary that was made? Oh, of me?
Yeah. I was just wondering, what was your take on that?
Let me tell you, man. I actually got a kick out of it. I thought it was kind of funny. As much as you can think that something like that is you know, is humorous. They, first of all, any of those guys, any of that, you know, let's bring it up. Any of those Reddit guys and the people that have anything to do with them don't know anything about any of us, about my brother, my sister, or myself, my family in general. But because Anthony is Anthony, we tend to catch heat over anything that they can get a hold of and you know, turn into what they want it to be. The best part about it is reading or, you know, viewing it later, being the subject of said documentary, and just seeing what percentage they actually got correct. You know, what percentage of fact they hit on the head, and without exaggerating, it's got to be 85% incorrect. Everything that's in that said documentary. I think it's hysterical. I mean, I'm a schmuck from Long Island. You know, I'm just a guy that grew up, got really lucky. My brother and I got extremely lucky, and it kind of put you in a loftier, a little bit of a more publicly, you know, known position. I mean, I run into people on the street that'll say, you know, that'll say, I follow you on Twitter. I know you from this or that, and being in that position definitely makes you a target for, you know, for what's going on over there on the O&A sub. Hey, O&A sub.
Has Anthony ever spoken to you about the documentaries on him?
Anthony?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. You know what he did? He used to. We both have tempers, man, and you know, being the guineas that we are, we definitely get hot. We heat up, especially when it's got to do with family. I mean, some of these guys started going after, like, you know, my daughter and personal information, and when that happens, you really wish you can out these guys and find them and kick the living shit out of them. You know, that's the way it used to be handled. But I'm old. I'm 59. I'm old and fat and soft, and they still won't let themselves be known to me. I just picture, you know, walking up to any one of these guys and watching the shit roll down their leg when I say hi. But the way it stands with my brother is he'd get hot and he'd go on Twitter or he'd go on his show and you know, start ranting about it, and that would just incite these idiots. So he's finally come to the same conclusion I have, that you don't want to feed those that feed Nana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really want to just ignore them, and they go away. That's how it works. Opie did that a long time ago. Opie's brothers all ignore social media stuff, except for Brett. It was really funny that he called me and we spoke about it, and both decided that that is the way to go, to completely cut off any communication with any of those idiots. So that's what we've been doing, just ignoring them.
And that just means that you win in the end, because they only win if they get a response.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's it took us. We're thick-headed, man. Like I said, we're just a bunch of thick-headed dagos. But we end up eventually realizing that we shouldn't be interacting with them in any way, and that just makes things go away. It works. Anyone who's being trolled, no matter who you are or what you do, if you don't give them anything back, they go away. Like you know, like a fungus eventually just withers away and dies.
It's like a genital warts. If you stop scratching it, it'll eventually.
There you go. There you go. More like poison ivy. It's temporary. It does go away. It may it may feel like shit sometimes, but it goes away.
And speaking of shit that goes away, just as I'm going to leave you alone after I give you this one final question. Is there any way we could get a small few bars from Electric Shock OJ?
It's early in the morning, man. Yeah, I can do it. You know what? Let me do it spoken word. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, here goes. I'm sitting in Los Angeles jail, and that judge won't let me post my bail. Now this could be the end of me, because California has got the death penalty. That was my best William Shatner. They're going electric shock OJ. Torch my behind like a chicken croquet. They're going electric shock OJ. Roast my behind. Nicole, I really loved that girl, but she had the worst luck in the world. I was only cleaning my knife. I accidentally stabbed her 36 times. They're going electric shock OJ. Cook my behind like a cherry flambe. They're going electric shock OJ. Roast my behind. Looks like I'm a guilty man. Love lots of women. Now I'm going to have to love my hand. But what's worse, what makes me flip my lid is I hear Michael Jackson is watching my kids. Why don't they cut me some slack? I'm an athlete, movie star, and I'm black. Whilst lawyers argue over my hair, they be warming up that electrical chair. They're going electric shock OJ. Cook my behind like a flounder fillet. They're going electric shock OJ. Roast my behind. There you go. That was it.
That was brilliant, Joe.
That was the whole song, man. That song made millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's the most ridiculous thing. It's absurdity at its peak. It's the most ridiculous thing. I've spent hours, days, months, years mixing songs, writing songs. This is the best song ever. I'm going to send it to a record label. It's going to get signed. I'm going to make a ton of money. I'm going to make $1 million. Gone Electric Shock OJ was the song that made it for Anthony and myself and a lot of other people. That song generated, I'm not even kidding when I say that song generated millions of dollars, millions. Without it, there would not have been the interaction between Opie and myself. Without the interaction between Opie and myself, Anthony never would have hooked up with Opie and radio. Without Anthony being in radio, I'd be knocking tin and doing heating and air conditioning. So God bless America.
And God bless Otis Redding, and God bless Ireland.
That's right. And God bless Nicole. And hey, you know what? God bless OJ too.
And may Xenu bless Tom Cruise and John Travolta.
There you go.